Hi, Nicole Hewitt with HWK Law Group, State and Elder Law Planning Attorney.
Hi, I'm Ellen Torres. I'm the Development Director for the Alzheimer's Association Greater Maryland Chapter.
Hello, I'm Sherry Rush. I'm an elder law paralegal with HWK Law Group.
So thanks for being here today, Ellen.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And having this wonderful presentation on Alzheimer's and the reason why that people should really be looking out for the early warning signs. So maybe if you could tell us a little bit about what we were just talking about.
Sounds good. So one of the things that is important for people to understand is Alzheimer's and dementia. Alzheimer's is the most common form of dementia. So dementia is the underarching umbrella. And so it is underneath of that, could be kind of like umbrella spokes, can be vascular dementia or Lewy body dementia, frontal temporal, the various different kinds of dementias. Alzheimer's is the most common. But people sometimes think that losing your memory and having issues as you get older are a normal part of aging. They are not. It is a disease. And so while there's there is a certain amount of age-related memory loss that takes place, those are the minor kinds of things that we all experience. But Alzheimer's or dementia, another form, is actually a disease and a problem. And the earlier you can be diagnosed, the more opportunities you have to make decisions, like legal and financial decisions, which are very important, making decisions about what you want your care to be. And now, there are actually treatments for people in the earliest stages. So if you wait, and many people do, they try to deny it, they're afraid of it, they don't want people to know. If you deny it and wait and put it off, you will lose the window that the treatments could be effective. So early diagnosis is critical, and like any other medical decision, the earlier you know, the earlier you can know how to fit in the rest of your medical history and other health conditions and things that you need to do. So you can live a normal life as long as you possibly can.
And I love that there are so many things that you can do from a medical side,
Yep.
from a planning, from a legal side of things too, which is what I deal with quite often. So many reasons. So one is that early treatment. You said there were some really great new medications out there, but you can only take advantage of them.
Yes, in the early stages.
Early stages. So, and in the same thing, in our planning, that a lot of the legal side of things should really be done in those early stages too, because you're able to still make some decisions about who you want to help you with your finances, who you want to help you medically, what you want your medical care to look like. And once you have progressed, which, as you pointed out, it's not an if, it's a when, because while the medicines slow it down, there's no cure at this point.
And there's no cure at this time. And just like every adult person should be planning and having a will and making your own personal decisions, sometimes making decisions about whether you want to be cremated or you want to be buried. You're perfectly healthy. You have years and years and years ahead. But letting your family know this is what I want, because sometimes accidents happen, sometimes really tragic things happen. Somebody who is very healthy and normal might get an illness all of a sudden and pass quickly, and you want to make sure you have those things under control. With Alzheimer's and dementia, people oftentimes think, well, that's something that's going to happen way down the line. But we're seeing more and more people being diagnosed in the earlier stages with a younger version. And so it isn't an old person's disease. But again, it's that opportunity for you to talk about, what do I want in my later years? You know, do I want to live in this home that I've lived in and raised my family? Would I like to downsize? Would I like to have a condo and I don't have to worry about snow removal, or I don't have to mow the lawn? All those kinds of decisions that people make, how they'd like to age in place and how they'd like to have that wonderful retirement process. Don't forget this, because sadly, for too many people, this is part of life now.
It is. And oftentimes people wait too long.
Yes.
And that is certainly where Sherry comes in. I'll let you expand. I mean, there, as you pointed out earlier, that cost of care is really, really expensive, and that really concerns families, and that is an important factor of how do we pay for this care, because, you know, taking care of somebody with advanced Alzheimer's for dementia is takes a toll on the caregiver.
Yes.
And financially on the wallet.
Yes.
So, Sherry, I'll let you talk a little bit about that piece of things.
Yeah, so what I'm coming across with some of our families, especially husband and wife, as they both age together. For example, we have a husband who has a colostomy bag and he has dementia and he's not able to maintain that himself. And the wife recently had surgery. These are things that they didn't plan for. So these are kind of like in crisis mode, and to place him is going to be very heavy on the pocket. And those are things that they didn't discuss, and now she's making those decisions by herself. It's so common for people to say, I should have done this sooner.
Yes.
I think everyone needs to consider being prepared, making the decisions while you can make them, instead of waiting till a moment where you no longer have a say. Maybe it's not the option for you any longer, and you have a guardianship and maybe the court's involved. So it's always good, as we've been saying, to be in control while you're living and make sure you have that will afterwards, and you can control things after you pass.
That's right. And one of the things and one of the reasons why we're so excited that for the last at least 2 years we've been partnering with all of you is that we work together in this kind of scenario. So we have a 24/7, 365-day-a-year helpline where people can call. So if somebody is experiencing issues with power of attorney and they don't know where to turn, they can turn to us, and we have a way of helping them to understand what kind of lawyer, for instance, you need to have. Because not all, a lot of law firms will do wills, but they don't necessarily have the skills to deal with the specific issues with elder law care.
Correct.
And those
Yeah.
power of attorneys and things like that. And so we will make information known to them that they can come and there's a referral. But if you're at the point where you're saying, I need to have more information about bringing in-home care in, and how is that paid for? And, well, Medicare pays for all of this, right? Well, no. And so there are certain kinds of information that people need, but then there's also the emotional burden. There's the emotional piece where you just have questions, you don't know how to answer the question. And one that comes up that I remember when I first started 10 years ago, I answered the phone and it was one of our helpline calls, and I inadvertently picked up a phone, didn't realize the way that the phones rang, that's what I was doing. And the woman started talking right away about her husband and the fact that her son had passed away sometime before, but he forgot. And he kept asking, where was the son? And she didn't. Every time she would say, he died, it was as if the first time it happened. And she just needed to know, what should I say? And of course I was brand new, so I didn't know what to say. And so I got her to the people who do the helpline, who know what to say. The answer is, you do what's called a therapeutic fib. Well, honey, he went away. Didn't I tell you he went on a trip? Oh, okay. And then you do. And you have an experience where sometimes they will confuse one generation to the other, and they might confuse a niece with a sister, and thinking that the niece they were with is the sister, and, oh no, they spent the day with the sister, when you know that sister has been passed for a few years. So the answer is, well, I hope you had a good time.
Right.
And not necessarily that you need to do it, but people need to have those ability to know, what do you do?
Right.
How do you answer those
And
questions?
it's okay to do those
And
things.
it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay to answer those questions. And so your ability to turn people to us is also really great, because that makes a partnership that's more full.
Absolutely.
And say, yeah, this is a tough road.
Yeah, we can prepare the documents.
Yes.
We can help them protect assets. We can help them get Medicaid if they're at that point. But for the support,
Yes.
of how do I practically deal with things?
Yes, exactly.
You all
That's where we
can-
come in.
Yes,
That's
you
where
can
we
give
come in.
direction. So
Yes, absolutely.
Takes a village.
it sure does.
It does, it does. And it's a
So-
complex issue. And just like, one of the things that we at the Alzheimer's Association is really trying to see enacted, but somebody who comes into a medical office and sadly they're diagnosed with cancer, there's a whole team that is then put in place, and there's a treatment plan, and there's a whole thing of information and everything that person's gonna need. And hopefully, these treatments are going to be successful and the person is going to be able to get through that cancer diagnosis with a good outcome. With Alzheimer's disease, however, people come in and sometimes it's very difficult, many times it's very difficult to get a diagnosis. And so they have to be very persistent in saying, no, it's not normal part of aging, there's something wrong. They finally get a diagnosis, and then it's like, well, I'm really sorry, I'll see you in 6 months. And so there are many questions that somebody needs to know. Questions about that support, what do you need to do, how do you do it, but also, are you driving? Is it still safe for you to be driving? Are there other things like legal and financial things you need to set up? And that's why we need to incorporate more partnerships with companies like yours and with the medical professionals to say, hey, when you're going through this, we'll help you with this piece, but the Alzheimer's Association will help you with that piece.
So it truly takes a team, and we look forward to a continued partnership with Alzheimer's Association. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for allowing me to do this and be able to share a little bit about the work that we do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are sponsors of the Alzheimer's Walk this year. It is on October the 26th in Hunt Valley. Registration starts at 7:30 a.m. and we're really excited about this partnership, and we look forward to continued support and being there, so please come out and join us.